we've got a statement from Brian Flores, attorney, on the hiring of Lovie Smith. Here we go. Right here. So after the Texans announced they hired Lovie Smith today, Brian Flores attorneys released this statement.
Two white men.
So yeah, Mr. Flores is happy to hear that the Texans have hired a black head coach, Lovie Smith, as Flores' goals in bringing his case is to provide real opportunities for black and minority candidates to be considered for coaching and executive positions with the NFL. So how does he feel about Miami's latest hire? Did we get a press release on that one? I'm just curious. Maybe he's not black enough. Maybe that's why maybe he supported Joe Biden because, you ain't black. So
because he planned on adding the Texans to the lawsuit, and it's tough to do when Lovie Smith is the guy hired. That's what they're really saying here. Well, saying he was still racially discriminated against, even though a black head coach was picked.
Well, look at the rest of this statement. However, we would be remiss not to mention that Mr. Flores was one of the 3 finalists. And after a great interview and mutual interest, it's obvious the only reason Mr. Flores was not selected was his decision to stand up against racial equality across the NFL. Lovie Smith has been a head coach 2 times. Lovie Smith has taken a team to the Super Bowl. Lovie Smith is far more experienced than you are, Brian Flores.
Yep.
You know what? I know their new angle is going to be it's not race discrimination, it's retaliation for filing suit and exposing race discrimination. That's going to be their new legal claim against the NFL.
Right?
Because they don't have a race discrimination claim.
That is disrespect. Completely a complete slap in the face to a person who has coached twice in this league, as Ryan said, taking him to the Super Bowl. And for the disrespect that you just gave this man, that's pure bullshit right there. That just shows you everything that Flores is all about right there. Sounds like a guy that would probably tell Tua to his face that I made a mistake and I should have gotten Mac Jones. Sounds like that type of guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's these kind of aggressive, accelerating comments. He's going to Colin Kaepernick himself.
Yes.
Though the real reason Kaepernick didn't get a chance is he couldn't hit the right side of a barn. Harbaugh made him look temporarily good. He was not good at Nevada, didn't have above a 60% completion rate until his senior season, and Nevada they weren't playing SEC defenses each week. He was a disaster initially with San Francisco. Harbaugh came in and created a scheme that hid his obvious weaknesses. And then finally the league in year 3 caught up to what those weaknesses are. And all of a sudden he had, I think, the second lowest net yards per attempt of any quarterback in the league at the time. What is smart. Now, for Kaepernick, it turned out to be smart. He knew he was going to be out of the league in a year.
100%.
He did the right thing. So what do I do? Oh, yeah. I'm
play the victim. Play the victim.
I'm against the man.
I'll be honest,
play that.
I bought into Kaepernick. Like, I remember his games against Green Bay. There were moments there he was incredible, and I didn't go I didn't go full Ron Jaworski saying he was going to be the greatest football player to ever live. But I liked Colin Kaepernick when he was in the league. I thought he offered a lot, and he really did. I mean, he was kind of a freak of nature with his talent, and his ability to run and throw. I bought into it. Specifically, there was one I think it wasn't the record-breaking Green Bay or the Green Bay game that everybody talks about. It wasn't that one, but it was another one where they were in the red zone, and he ran out of bounds and he got hit. It was a borderline late hit, and one of his offensive linemen comes up and just goes after the guy that hit him. And Kaepernick grabbed his offensive lineman's jersey and yanked him back so he wouldn't get a penalty. I was like, damn, that's leadership. And ultimately what happens in any situation is you're always going to have things like, oh, you're going to benefit from this, you're going to benefit from that. But you can learn to overcome things. But Colin Kaepernick didn't want to do the work to build himself back up. Harbaugh covered up a lot of his weaknesses, and instead of applying himself and learning, he just took the easy way out to become a fake victim. And it worked out great for him. Congrats on that one, Colin Kaepernick.
And that's what Brian Flores is doing. He realizes that with the bridges he's burnt, being the asshole he is, and I think this is a problem in general with the Bill Belichick pipeline. I think all these guys try to be Bill Belichick and think they can be Bill Belichick with the way that he treats everyone and interacts with anyone. You can't be Bill Belichick. Not all of you can. And I think Brian Flores was an asshole, and that reputation got around that he was an asshole. Not that he was an angry black man like he put in his lawsuit, but just There's a problem with him, and he knew he was either going to be, a coordinator, maybe never get a chance, or I can take this moment and I can Colin Kaepernick myself. I can be a victim. I can go on all these sports talk radio or sports interviews and do these. It's ridiculous. Brian Flores is a piece of garbage, and Colin Kaepernick, everyone should have realized that by year 3, he could not throw a ball with touch. Literally all it was the same pass over and over and over again.
And that was the genius of Harbaugh. I mean, he could not throw between the hashes with any consistency. It was high risk. And he designed an offense that just had him bootleg, throwing outside the hashes. Using his arm strength as a virtue rather than the vice that it is because he throws too hard without touch down the middle of the field. And once the league's defenses adjust, because they always adjust, the NFL catches on. That's why, Chip Kelly's offense worked for a year, and that was it. Because the NFL has too many quality coaches, too many skilled players for you to be able to scheme your way to any consistency. I mean, once Belichick exposed Sean McVay, he had to ultimately go back to a whole new system and get a whole different quarterback. And this year they haven't been a run-heavy offense. And the reason is because the league adjusted. They're constantly adjusting. Scheme will only get you so far. The genius of Belichick was his ability to constantly adjust again and adjust again and adjust. As the league adjusted, he adjusted. The league adjusted, he was always one step ahead. Maybe sometimes with the rule book, one step ahead, but that's another story. I think Flores had great potential as a coach. I think he's completely blowing it by doing this. He thinks he's grandstanding and winning. I don't think he'll get a Colin Kaepernick big Nike deal out of this, so it's not going to pay off like it did for Kaepernick. And I think he had potential as a coach that he's just burning bridge after bridge. What GM? What's to hire him now? It was like, if he gets pissed, he'll rat everybody out on everything.
Exactly. If you can't fire him. If you hire him now, you can never fire him because he'll scream racism like the bitch that he is. Fuck Brian Flores.
And he knows down deep that that's BS. But it's sad that he's become so embittered by all of this.